Hello and welcome to the Everyday Adventure Podcast. My name is Nikki Bass and I will be bringing you thoughts, ideas and stories from some incredible guests to hopefully inspire you to live more adventurously in your everyday lives. So if you've caught the last few episodes of the podcast, you'll know that the Everyday Adventure Podcast is currently running a mini-series in support of the International Women's Day Sea Swim, which is being held in Brighton on the south coast of the UK on Saturday, the 9th of March. And I'm really delighted today because I am welcoming the headline sponsor of the event, Debbie Stevens from Debbie Stevens Wellbeing and Girls Night Out. Now, Debbie founded this business over 20 years ago, which I think is just amazing in itself. Running my own business, I know how hard it is to keep going. So I just think, to have 20 years of experience is just amazing. And it was following a reflexology course, I believe, that she started as a hobby and which has evolved into this multi-award winning business, which provides wellbeing events for schools, for workplaces, groups of women celebrating nights out, nights in and out. So, Debbie, it is such a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love to know what inspired you to get involved with the International Women's Day Sea Swim? What was it that's brought you to this place of being the headline sponsor?
Well, I know Nikki Chisholm really well, and I know she's really bonkers, and I love her energy. So why wouldn't I want to be involved in something that Nikki was doing? She's like an inspiration and an adventure herself. So it's like, I felt that I needed to take a leap of faith and step up and be head of something. So I thought I would be the head sponsor for the International Women's Day Swim. And obviously I'm dealing with, most of my clientele are women. So there's going to be 500 lady swimmers. And I'm launching my Girls' Nights Out in Brighton. And look, it just kind of made sense. Nikki needed someone with a wellbeing background. I know Nikki, there's women. And of course, I'm going to be there.
Oh, brilliant. And I know that sort of getting outside and having that sort of outdoors focus is something that's really important to you as well. Having looked at your blogs on your website and seeing, talking about your favourite dog walks and those sort of things. And I was just wondering, what is it about the outdoors that makes such a difference to you personally?
Just before COVID, I was persuaded by my family to get another dog. And against all of my wishes, we did get one. I was kind of bullied, right? But anyway, now that Faye's here, and of course I love her, right? Because she's here. She's like she's like the third grandchild. So I kind of like to start my day off really well. And if I can, and the weather is good, I try and get up really early. I'm really lucky to be nestled in West Sussex between the South Downs and the sea. And I just like to get out early, start my day off well, and just put my wellies on, splash in all the puddles, listen to the birds, feel the sun and the wind on my face and my hair, and just get out there in nature, because I just think it's a great way to start the day, and it just has a really calming effect on me. And if I don't do that, my day doesn't kind of roll. It's just part of that being now. I don't love the rain. Of course I don't. But hey, it's never bad weather. It's bad clothing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so interesting, isn't it? That thing about how you set up your day. Because I know that, there's so much out there now about, 5 a.m. starts, or you should start your day in this way or that way. But I think there's something about, like you said, when something helps to set you in the right frame of mind. And I totally agree. There's something really calming. Your head can be full of stuff and busyness and to-do lists and all the stuff. And then you sort of step outside. We've got 2 dogs as well and once they're on the go, I can't think about anything else because I'm trying to control them mainly. But I think there's something about just being in that space and being present with them that makes such a huge difference.
Definitely. And one of my clients, she gave me some money for a birthday or Christmas, I can't remember now. But anyway, so I went out and bought these special wellies. and they were really bright and colourful. So, and my client, she's been with me for years, and she can't get out and about now. So I wear those wellies with pride, and I splash through all the puddles, and I become childlike just for her, really. Oh. So every time I do that, I pull my wellies on, I think of my 85-year-old client, and I get out there and I splash in the puddles, and I watch my dog run around, and it kind of makes my heart sing. So, yeah, so why wouldn't I want to start my day like that?
No, that sounds amazing. I think I love that about having, like, that's something about that clothing, or having something that, just like you said, connects you with why am I doing this, and that I can still do stuff too, I think can be really powerful as well. Because like you said, there's so many, particularly in the UK, in winter, so many reasons why not to get outside, quite frankly. There are a lot of barriers between us and that doorstep. But just having something that just goes, okay, this is why you're doing it, and go out and have fun and play with it as well. It's amazing. So if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking, not sure I want to step over that doorstep, or they're wanting to start living more adventurously and they're not quite sure how to get started, I know you've got, I mean, we were chatting just before and you were telling me about how you got started on your business as well, and the sort of the adventure on that. And I was just wondering, if someone's listening to this, I want to start, but I'm not quite sure how, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
I think that we just need to be brave, right? The hardest step is the first step, right? So you have to ask yourself, what do you need, right? How much of a difference is it going to make? You want to take away all those what ifs. What if it doesn't work? Well, let's just flip that on its head, right? What if it did work? And what if it was truly amazing and it made your life so much bigger and brighter and more colourful? So look, if you're wondering what to do next, but you need to make a change, right? Just put your hand on your heart and just make that first step. It's not scary. It's not as scary as you think. There's always someone there that will help you. And, you are so brave, but you just don't know it yet. Right? So I just think, just be brave. Make that step. It's only one step. The rest are easy. Right? So I think I listened to something the other day and it said, this lady said that, life isn't all about eating cake. Sometimes you have to eat something that's you don't like, right? But, you have to do that to get to the best place, if that kind of makes sense to you, I just think, don't be scared. Just do it. Just do it. You won't fail. You'll just learn more.
Yeah, I think that point about failure is really important, because I think that often that is the bit that stops people, is thinking, what, like you said, what if it goes wrong? What if I turn up and thinking about the sea swim, Nikki and I were chatting about this on the previous episode, and that sort of thing of, I don't know anybody going along, or I don't know, what I'll have to do when I get there, and all of these things, all the things that we don't know, which can dictate or can stop us from taking that first step. But like you said, sometimes it's that mindset switch, and also knowing you're going to be really well supported when you do it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on as well something that we talked about just before we came on air as well, about this idea that sometimes you don't know where things are going to lead. I think you mentioned it to get, with regards to your business. And I just wondered if you wanted to share that story about, how you got started, because I think sometimes we can see the achievement and we can go, that's brilliant, that person did that, I could never do that. And what we haven't seen is the story in the background that's led up to it.
So imagine this, right? So I've been to about 12 different schools in my educational life, right? And it wasn't because I was really naughty. It was just that my dad was in the army. And every time you go to a new school, you have to be able to make new friends, right? And you have to adapt, because you're always the new kid on the block, right? So one of my skills is that I'm really good at making friends, and I can talk to people, right? So what happened was when I was 39, I always knew I was going to have a family, and I put my whole being into being this loving wife and a lovely nurturing mom, and, and all those things that you do when you're a family. But I remember waking up one day and I was 39 and I suddenly realised that I'd kind of lost my identity because I'd put my whole being into my family, and I thought, no, I need something. I need a hobby for myself. So I looked at what the college courses were doing and I found this reflexology course and found it was really interesting. And it wasn't like cookery or baking or gardening. It was something you could do with your hands, right? And I remember turning up at the class. Now, this is the step that I had to take. So if anyone listening is worried or frightened, this is my frightened spot where I was in the class, I paid the money, and the tutor said at the beginning of the introduction to the class, this course is not for a bored housewife. And I was that bored housewife. And I thought, oh my God, I failed. And I thought, no, come on, Debbie, you're here. You're not here to fail. You're here to learn. And I remember listening to all the other people standing up and saying their name and what they did, right? And it was all like these really professional people like chiropodists, osteopaths, nurses, all these people that wanted to add this reflexology to their business. And I didn't even have like an MVQ, a GCSE or a CSE. I was just that bored housewife. And I just thought, what am I going to do? And she said, stand up and say your name and why you're here. So I did. And I literally reached out, took my inner child's hand that was really frightened. And I said, come on, we can do this. We're nearly 40. And we stood up and we said, my name is Debbie Stevens and I am here to have a hobby. And, and then I sat down really quickly. So that was my leap of faith. I had to trust myself. And because I wanted to be there and I was committed, and I kept turning out I actively took part every week and turned up and had my pencil and notes and everything, worked really hard. And I achieved 98% pass mark.
Gosh.
And I watched some of the others fall away, and I passed.
Amazing. I just love that story because I think it's just, like you said, it's all of those things that are going on in your mind in that moment, like, this isn't for me and I shouldn't be here. And in this case, it's like you've been told that you shouldn't be here. I mean, it's not even a particularly welcoming environment. And then, like you said, actually just that act of showing up and going, right, this is why I want to do this. And those little steps of taking that commitment every single week and keeping on showing up. And such a huge part, I think, of any adventure is just the keeping on going and just the showing up, even if you're not quite sure why you're there. So I just think your story illustrates so perfectly what, the idea of an everyday adventure and what it's about, how you just show up even if you're not quite sure and you find a way to keep going and look what you've grown from it as well. It's just amazing. Debbie, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. It's been such a pleasure chatting to you. I'm sure we could keep going for a lot longer. If people want to find out more about you, what you do, where can they go? So I have this lovely website. It's www.debbiestevenswellbeing.co.uk. And on the website is all my, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, telephone number, email. Brilliant. And we'll pop all of those links in the show notes as well, so people can come and find you really easily as well. And also, you may have heard Debbie referring back to Nikki Chisholm, who is the founder of the International Women's Day Sea Swim in Brighton. So if you want to check out Nikki's episode as well, she was the first episode in this mini-series, and you can find out more about the Sea Swim. We'll also put the link to the Sea Swim and how you can join in on the day if you want to. And those will all be there for you to find. Debbie, it's been such a pleasure chatting to you. And yes, I may well see you on the day down in Brighton, but if not, I hope you have a fantastic day. And yes, I'm wishing you all the very best for your business as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.